All of these deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed.
Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mariah Carey, the Kardashians, Kanye West, Paris Hilton, and Russell Simmons were just a few of the big names on the guest list for Diddy's lavish parties. But who was invited to the freak-off? Who were the ones who stayed silent for years, fully aware of what really happened behind the scenes once the parties wrapped up? This is the untold story of the celebrities who frequented P. Diddy's parties. Picture this. The music is pulsing at one of Diddy's legendary white parties in the Hamptons, an event everyone dreams of attending. The elite from Hollywood, hip-hop, and Wall Street are all there, enjoying laughter and raising their glasses while models glide across the lawn in stylish attire. The atmosphere is thick with the sense of wealth and desire. But just outside that glamorous scene, there lies a truth that is much more complex than any tabloid could capture. This is where it all began. In the shadows, where quiet murmurs spoke of manipulation, and a man who wasn't just influencing the music industry, but also impacting the lives of those closest to him. Diddy wasn't born a villain. Circumstances crafted that persona, making it difficult for him to navigate his own path. You didn't want to believe it, right? How could you? The same man who inspired you to dream bigger and work harder. But as lawsuits began to emerge, accusations that extended beyond financial matters, hinting at broken lives and deep scars, the facade of his untouchable empire started to crumble. That's when you began to question how much of Diddy's success was truly built on talent versus the webs of control, influence, and silence surrounding him. It was in 2020 that yet another chink in Diddy's public facade began to emerge. April Lampros, a woman who had previously been involved with Combs, came forward with alarming allegations. In her May 2024 lawsuit, she claimed that he had assaulted her in her own apartment. The media largely downplayed the incident, dismissing it as a personal dispute. After all, Diddy was at the peak of his career, and many were reluctant to accept that the man behind the music could harbor such dangerous tendencies away from the spotlight. But this was only the beginning. In 2001, the allegations against Diddy took a much graver turn. Talia Graves, a 25-year-old woman, accused him of a truly disturbing act. According to Graves, she had been invited to a bad boy recording studio by Diddy himself, where she alleged he tampered with her drink, leaving her unable to defend herself. What happened next was nothing short of a nightmare. Graves claimed she awoke to find herself restrained, with Diddy and his bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, taking turns exploiting her. It wasn't just about violence. It was an act of humiliation. They reportedly slammed her head into a pool table multiple times as if to convey a chilling message. This was not merely about power. It was about complete domination. What made this case even more unsettling was what Graves would later uncover. In November 2023, over 2 decades after the alleged incident, she discovered that Diddy and Sherman had secretly recorded the entire event. The footage of her distressing experience wasn't just a twisted trophy for them. It had been shared among others to further demean her and reinforce their influence over the people around them. Graves suspected that the video had been circulated through Sherman's underground network. A significant turning point in Graves's quest for justice came with the involvement of Gloria Allred, a well-known attorney recognized for taking on high-profile cases involving allegations of assault and abuse. Allred held a press conference where she not only detailed the case, but ensured that the public was paying attention. In her lawsuit, Thalia, through her legal team, raised an important question. Could it be possible? Was the same individual who was building empires and influencing pop culture truly capable of such cruelty? And if these allegations were only now coming to light, what else might Diddy have kept hidden in the shadows? What began with making The Band, the reality TV show that amplified Diddy's fame and public adoration, was evolving into something entirely different. a public reckoning. By 2001, the glow of Diddy's success was beginning to fade, and it wasn't just the troubling allegations of misconduct that were pulling him into the limelight. This time, it was a very public incident that couldn't be overlooked, a confrontation that unfolded in front of witnesses. Roger Mills, a local TV host, found himself caught in the crosshairs of Diddy's temper. What should have been a routine encounter, one of those moments where cameras capture a celebrity in their element, quickly spiraled out of control. Mills claimed that their exchange, which started with words, escalated to a physical confrontation. He alleged that Diddy's entourage physically intimidated him, even going so far as to damage his camera. Mills didn't back down. He filed a lawsuit against Diddy, alleging not only assault but also false imprisonment, destruction of property, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. This wasn't just a heated moment. Mills described it as a frightening experience where he felt completely powerless against the weight of Diddy's celebrity and the aggression of his team. For someone like Diddy, who had built his empire on charisma, confidence, and authority, this was the last thing he needed. It's definitely been one of the toughest years of my life. With everything happening, personal challenges included, it feels like everything is just falling apart, Mills shared. I know there are countless people who can relate to those times when it feels like nothing is going right. His legal team sprang into action, firmly denying any wrongdoing. They viewed the lawsuit as another attempt to capitalize on Diddy's fame for attention and profit. A spokesperson for Combs took an aggressive stance, asserting that the accusations were completely unfounded and framing Mills's suit as nothing more than a desperate bid for headlines. They reshaped the narrative, portraying Diddy as the target of yet another challenge to his reputation. In response, Diddy pursued a defamation claim, once again turning the tables. But the lingering question remained: how could a man who always seemed composed under pressure, who presented himself as the unassailable architect of hip-hop culture, find himself caught up in these troubling confrontations? It was a side of Diddy that the public wasn't accustomed to, the facade slipping, the empire builder revealing cracks. The case dragged on for 3 years, and in 2004, the final verdict was delivered. The jury sided with Diddy, leading many to view this as a vindication, a sign that the allegations against him, both in this instance and others, were simply part of the price of fame. However, for others, it represented yet another example of a wealthy, powerful individual avoiding accountability. But the verdict didn't erase the incident from public memory. While the law had spoken, the damage had already been done. For every fan who continued to see Diddy as a business icon, there were others who couldn't shake the image of a man caught up in yet another confrontation, wielding his power and influence behind the scenes. This wasn't the first time Diddy had encountered legal challenges, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. Yet for many, this was another piece of a troubling puzzle. The public mogul who cultivated his image as a cultural king, while quietly undermining those who stood in his way. The Roger Mills case was just one battle in the ongoing struggle for Diddy's reputation, hinting at a troubling pattern where intimidation and power dynamics were never far beneath the surface. Behind the million-dollar deals and platinum records, a darker narrative always lurked in the shadows. For Diddy, the real question was whether that narrative would eventually catch up with him. In the early 2000s, Diddy was at the pinnacle of his career, enjoying immense influence as a music mogul and entrepreneur. However, beneath the polished exterior, troubling allegations began to emerge. What initially seemed like isolated incidents soon escalated into a troubling series of claims regarding inappropriate conduct and abuse that cast a dark cloud over his empire. In 2003, a shocking lawsuit came to light, accusing Diddy and his close associate, Harvey Pierre, of serious wrongdoing. An unnamed young woman alleged that she was invited to a recording studio in New York under the pretense of meeting Diddy for a potential career opportunity. However, what transpired was far from her expectations. She claimed that once inside the studio, she was incapacitated and subsequently assaulted by both Diddy and Pierre. The disturbing details of the incident painted a grim picture, as she described a situation where she was unable to provide consent. To make matters worse, the alleged incident was reportedly recorded, adding another layer of distress to the situation. Although the lawsuit was filed anonymously, it attracted significant attention, portraying a narrative of exploitation and abuse, with Diddy's inner circle intensifying the seriousness of the claims. Pierre's role as a top executive at Bad Boy Records raised further questions about the potential prevalence of such troubling behaviors within the industry. In a separate case in 2003, another woman, Crystal McKenna, came forward with a similar allegation. She accused Diddy of incapacitating her and engaging in an inappropriate encounter at his New York studio. McKenna claimed that during a meeting, she was given substances that impaired her ability to resist, leading to a deeply troubling and non-consensual situation. The gravity of the accusations was heightened by reports that the incident was allegedly recorded. McKenna's lawsuit created significant waves and further damaged Diddy's public persona as the charismatic mogul who had built his empire on hard work and creativity. Amidst these allegations, Dawn Richard, a contestant on Diddy's hit reality show Making the Band, also shared her own experiences of mistreatment during the show's production. "I still want to make music with you. I still want you to be signed to the label," Richard reflected, highlighting the immense pressure she faced on the show, which involved grueling schedules, little sleep, and demanding physical challenges. The emotional and physical toll was staggering, as Richard endured verbal mistreatment and was pushed to her limits in a harsh environment. "What you'd see, Puff, later on is that we'd all get ready and then we'd wait like that. It might be around 7 a.m., but he wouldn't call until 6 p.m. We'd pile into the van and wait there for about 3 hours. So by 11 a.m., he'd say, 'In 2 minutes, every group get ready to audition,' and he'd be cutting that night. Your hair and makeup would be a mess because you've been waiting for the last 10 hours. The intense conditions took a toll on her health, resulting in significant weight loss and a diagnosis of anemia, underscoring the negative effects of the rigorous production environment. Richard's experiences on the show revealed that the reality behind Diddy's empire was far from the glamorous facade it projected. The relentless pressure, coupled with verbal mistreatment, contributed to a growing narrative that Diddy's approach to building his empire might have involved more harmful practices than previously acknowledged. As these stories began to surface, Diddy's carefully crafted public image, built on years of charm and hard work, started to show signs of wear. The increasing allegations pointed to a troubling pattern of behavior that was hard to overlook. What had once been mere whispers of misconduct had now transformed into a wave of legal challenges and damaging lawsuits that threatened to destabilize the very foundation of his empire. But what happened next would prove to be the tipping point. By 2005, Diddy had firmly established himself as one of the most influential figures in the entertainment industry. He was celebrated as a visionary with a knack for turning talent into superstars. Yet beneath the surface, his empire was overshadowed by troubling whispers, rumors of unhealthy relationships and manipulation that would linger over his legacy. However, at that moment in 2005, these concerns seemed to fade into the background. Then came Cassie Van Tour, a striking 19-year-old singer with a bright future ahead of her, who would soon become a pivotal figure in Diddy's life. "Everyone can hear how focused and excited I am about the project," Diddy said, brimming with enthusiasm about Cassie. Their initial meeting in 2005 marked the beginning of a complicated and increasingly concerning dynamic. Dawn Richard, a former member of Danity Kane and a close observer of Diddy's relationship with Cassie, noted that Diddy's behavior toward the young singer raised red flags from the very start. Richard recalled how Diddy seemed captivated by Cassie the moment they met. His attention focused solely on her, as if he was already envisioning her future within his world. Richard witnessed how Diddy began to isolate Cassie from others, an early sign of the control that would soon become evident in their relationship. It was an introduction that would lay the groundwork for what Richard would later describe in a lawsuit as the beginning of years of psychological and emotional distress. In early 2006, Cassie signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Records, a decision that would launch her career but also draw her into a troubling cycle. While the deal seemed like a dream for the young singer, who had just released her debut single Me and You, the reality behind the scenes was far more troubling. Cassie's signing was not merely a professional milestone, it marked the start of a complicated and unhealthy relationship that extended well beyond the recording studio. What began with the allure of fame and success quickly spiraled into a distressing experience marked by manipulation and control. Cassie would eventually share unsettling details that painted a stark picture of her time under Diddy's influence. She revealed that the charming mogul the world admired was, behind closed doors, someone who exercised power through emotional manipulation and intimidation. According to her, during their relationship, she was often placed in vulnerable situations, leaving her exposed to Diddy's whims. She alleged being coerced into uncomfortable encounters, including interactions with male companions, all while Diddy recorded those moments for his enjoyment. This disturbing practice, which Cassie referred to as freak-offs, involved her being pressured into actions that further entrenched Diddy's control over her autonomy. But the ordeal didn't end there. Cassie's experiences were also overshadowed by troubling incidents, with reports of Diddy resorting to physical aggression on multiple occasions, especially when she expressed her independence or interacted with other men. Richard, who witnessed some of these moments, claimed that Diddy's controlling tendencies escalated to a point where escaping the cycle became nearly impossible for Cassie. The allegations Cassie made were hard to overlook, painting a portrait of a young woman ensnared in a relationship marked by coercion, emotional distress, and a troubling loss of agency, all concealed beneath the alluring facade of fame and success. This reality was far more sinister than the glitzy image fans saw when Cassie topped the charts. Her burgeoning career was tightly intertwined with Diddy's continued influence in the industry, and the toll it took on her well-being only deepened as time went on. The public perception of a glamorous and powerful partnership masked the difficulties she faced behind closed doors, difficulties that persisted until she finally found the strength to break free. For Cassie, the years from 2005 to 2006 represented not just the start of her musical journey, but also the onset of a life governed by manipulation and control, where her sense of autonomy was gradually stripped away by the very person who was meant to guide her. This brings us to the start of Diddy's notorious Hampton white parties, events everyone wanted to attend. Stick around as we explore how these gatherings morphed into troubling situations that would ultimately lead to serious legal consequences for him. The Hamptons, known for their stunning beaches and the opulent lifestyles of the elite, have long served as a playground for the wealthy and famous. For years, Diddy's legendary white parties attracted a star-studded crowd, making them the pinnacle of extravagance. Celebrities, models, and influencers donned their finest white attire and enjoyed nights filled with celebration and luxury. However, beneath the glitzy exterior of these events lurked a darker reality of exploitation and manipulation. One of the most distressing accounts to come from these infamous parties is that of Adria English, a model and aspiring actress who claims her life was manipulated and controlled by Diddy and his entourage. Like many others, English entered the entertainment industry with aspirations of fame and success, but according to her allegations, those dreams quickly turned into a harrowing experience of exploitation. She asserts that Diddy and his associates systematically groomed her, luring her into a precarious situation. At the height of his celebrity status, where the boundaries between fame and exploitation blurred, she was led to believe that these exclusive parties were a gateway to valuable connections and opportunities. But the truth was much darker. English's testimony reveals that, while these events were filled with high-profile guests from the entertainment world, they also served as a facade for more troubling activities. She alleged that models like herself were chosen, sedated, and coerced into intimate encounters with affluent and influential guests. English claimed that the use of drug-infused drinks was a common tactic, making it easier for the party organizers to manage the women and ensure their compliance. The attendees at these gatherings often included wealthy elites, with prominent figures from the music, fashion, and business industries. The team from Vibe magazine, well known for its significant role in hip-hop culture, was reportedly involved in these exclusive circles. Jacob the jeweler, a celebrated jeweler for celebrities, was also mentioned, adding another layer of industry connections to the unfolding situation. While these parties represented the height of power and prestige, they also became environments where exploitation thrived, a troubling reality that many within the industry, both aligned and unaligned with Diddy, chose to overlook. A key figure in these alarming allegations was Tamiko Thomas, a model and friend of Diddy, who was accused of introducing young women like English to the unsettling world surrounding these parties. According to English's account, Thomas acted as a bridge to Diddy's circle, bringing women into his realm under the pretense of supporting their careers. However, rather than helping them advance their modeling and acting dreams, Thomas allegedly led them into a life of exploitation. Thomas's role went beyond just recruitment. She was reportedly involved in guiding and persuading the women to comply with Diddy's requests and those of his elite guests. English recalls being introduced to alcohol-spiked drinks, which helped ease their resistance and made it easier for the influential men present to take advantage of the situation. The aim seemed to be ensuring that the women remained submissive amidst coercive and uncomfortable circumstances. What amplifies the gravity of English's allegations is the suggested complicity of significant figures and organizations within the entertainment and fashion industries. Vibe magazine, recognized as a key player in the hip-hop scene and closely linked to Diddy, had long been regarded as an authority on celebrity culture. However, it has been reported that some members of its team were present at these gatherings and chose to ignore the troubling activities happening behind the scenes. In 2009, English filed a lawsuit that could have far-reaching consequences for the music industry and the media that had long turned a blind eye to the more troubling aspects of celebrity culture. In her legal documents, she detailed how she had been manipulated and mistreated by a powerful system that allowed individuals to use their fame as a cover for their misconduct. Amid the wave of allegations, Diddy maintained a steadfast approach, consistently denying all claims against him. He argued that the lawsuits were driven by financial motives and aimed at damaging his reputation. Those at the top often begin to feel invulnerable, their actions bolstered by the very systems that enable them. They're not inherently bad. Rather, they are shaped by a combination of success, unchecked influence, and an environment that often rewards their less admirable qualities. Diddy Combs didn't enter this world as a villain. He was molded by it. As a young man navigating the fiercely competitive music industry, he quickly learned that kindness wasn't the currency for building an empire. He established his career through relentless hustle. "I am the hardest hustler in the world, always 2 steps ahead, seizing every opportunity that came his way." However, somewhere along the line, that drive for success evolved into something more troubling. As we've explored in previous episodes of Surviving Diddy, his unpredictable behavior can be traced back to significant trauma, including the loss of his father at a young age due to a tragic incident, along with his mother's challenging circumstances that unfolded in front of him. From a young age, Diddy hosted lively college parties while attending Howard University, marking the beginning of his journey in the entertainment world. However, another key figure played a significant role in shaping who he would become: Clive Davis. Mr. Davis, you've had a tremendous impact on P. Diddy's career. Have you had any conversations with him since the recent federal investigation? You know we've attended various conventions and conferences together. Diddy often credits you as one of his mentors. He was a driven young executive eager to make his mark in the challenging music industry. Every rising star needs a mentor, someone to guide, influence, and, whether intentionally or not, help shape their path. For Diddy, that mentor was Clive Davis, the legendary figure in the music industry who had already paved the way for icons like Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin. Davis, recognized for his keen eye for talent and profound understanding of the industry's intricacies, saw immense potential in Combs. However, what Davis offered Combs went beyond just creating chart-topping hits. Davis wasn't merely a mentor, he was a strategic guide, skillfully illustrating the intricacies of the industry. As an eager learner, Combs absorbed every lesson Davis imparted, mastering the art of navigating a competitive environment that often favored assertiveness and control. Their relationship exemplifies a common psychological dynamic found in high-stakes industries, the mentor-apprentice power dynamic. In this scenario, the mentor not only provides guidance, but also helps shape the ethical framework, or the lack thereof, of their protege. In many ways, Combs's early mentorship under Davis served as an introduction to a realm where distinctions between right and wrong were often obscured. Psychological studies indicate that when individuals are influenced by powerful figures, they learn not just how to achieve success, but also how to leverage others to maintain it. Combs quickly realized that succeeding in the music industry wasn't solely about talent. It was about acquiring and wielding power, understanding how to gain it, retain it, and utilize it to influence the landscape around him. The persona that Diddy would later embody wasn't shaped solely by his upbringing in Harlem. It was molded in the boardrooms of record labels, guided by the insights of influential figures like Clive Davis. By the time Diddy launched Bad Boy Entertainment in 1993, he had fully embraced the lessons of influence and strategy imparted by his mentor. No longer just a promising young executive, he was a man on a quest, driven by an insatiable desire for success. Bad Boy was his domain, and Diddy was its sovereign. However, beneath the surface of glitz, glamour, and platinum records, a more troubling transformation was taking place. The man who had once fought his way to the top was evolving into the very kind of orchestrator he had once looked up to. This time, the strings he pulled were about more than just achieving success. They were about exerting control, asserting dominance, and ultimately creating chaos. In October 2007, Diddy Combs made a significant career move with a groundbreaking partnership with Diageo, the global liquor giant. In this deal, he was not merely an ambassador, but a collaborator in the marketing and development of Ciroc vodka. It wasn't just about promoting a product, it was about shaping a brand image. Diddy didn't just endorse Ciroc, he became synonymous with it. Under his influence, the brand transformed from a lesser-known vodka label into a symbol of luxury, success, and elevated living. Diddy earned the title of the Ciroc King, a designation that represented more than just financial success. It cemented his status as an untouchable figure in both the music and business realms. However, this partnership brought with it a more insidious consequence than financial rewards. It fed Combs's burgeoning sense of invincibility. For Combs, the Ciroc deal represented more than just a business opportunity. It became a symbol of influence, fueling his belief in his own legend. As his success grew, so did his sense of invulnerability. This phenomenon mirrors the psychology of addiction, not solely to substances like alcohol or drugs, but to power, status, and attention. Research indicates that there are parallels between substance addiction and the compulsion for fame and control. The more one experiences, the more they crave to sustain that exhilaration. In Diddy's case, the thrill derived not only from his financial achievements, but also from the elevated social standing that the Ciroc brand brought him. Being known as the Ciroc King didn't just enrich him, It bestowed a sense of supremacy. His identity became so intertwined with the brand's success that the idea of losing control in any aspect of his life became unimaginable. While Diddy reveled in the glow of his Ciroc-enhanced success, unsettling challenges began to loom on the horizon. In recent years, speculation has arisen suggesting that Diageo might have played a role in some of Diddy's legal predicaments, particularly regarding his high-profile lawsuits against the company in which he alleged instances of racial bias. This theory posits that Diddy's rapid ascent within the company may have made him a target, not just for competitors but possibly for Diageo itself. In 2024, Diddy initiated a $1 billion lawsuit against Diageo, alleging that the company was restricting the distribution of Ciroc and De Leon tequila in predominantly black communities and that he had experienced unfair treatment. When the boundaries between business interests, power dynamics, and legality become hazy, conspiracy theories often emerge, and this situation is no exception. The theory suggests that Diageo, reluctant to continue sharing the spotlight with Diddy or confront accusations of bias, might have leveraged its corporate power to draw him into legal troubles, aiming to undermine his public persona and, in turn, his influence over the Ciroc brand. While there's no solid evidence to substantiate this theory, the idea of corporate influence in media and legal matters isn't far-fetched. History has shown that large corporations can manipulate public perception and manage narratives behind the scenes. Could Diddy have fallen prey to this type of corporate maneuvering? It's certainly within the realm of possibility. Psychologically, this scenario illustrates a compelling internal conflict faced by powerful individuals like Combs, the tension between perceiving oneself as a victim versus a villain. This tension highlights the cracks within Diddy's empire. As he accumulated more power, he grew increasingly paranoid and disconnected from reality. It's a timeless narrative. The once revered king begins to see foes everywhere, and in his paranoia, he risks undermining the very foundation that supported his empire. This conspiracy theory, whether based in reality or imagination, highlights a deeper truth about the alluring nature of power. When individuals like Diddy reach extraordinary levels of success, they often find themselves surrounded by those who enable them and allow them to feel invincible. However, history has taught us that the higher someone climbs, the greater the risk of a fall. In Diddy's case, the very forces that once propelled him to the summit might also have been conspiring to bring him back down. In August 2006, Danity Kane's self-titled debut album, released under Combs' Bad Boy Records and Atlantic Records, soared to the top, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200. For many, this was seen as the pinnacle of Diddy's creative vision, showcasing his undeniable ability to nurture talent. Yet, beneath this glittering surface, Dawn Richard would later uncover the flaws in this so-called success story. Her lawsuit, filed years later, revealed a much different narrative, one where the album's triumph was overshadowed by unfulfilled commitments and unpaid contributions. That's some little teenage boy control he used to exert influence over everything. He used the rejection, Richard stated, estimating her damages at around $1 million, money she claimed she never received for her work on the very project that catapulted Bad Boy's girl group to the top of the charts. The success of Danity Kane was not solely founded on musical talent. It was built on a foundation of exploitation, with Combs at the helm, orchestrating events from behind the scenes. While Diddy's success with Danity Kane was making headlines, another more troubling story unfolded in the background. That same month, according to a lawsuit filed in October 2024, Combs hosted one of his well-known Hamptons white parties. However, this particular event took a disturbing turn. A male bodyguard, who was working under the guise of providing security, claims that he was drugged and assaulted by Combs after accepting a drink. The bodyguard, referred to as Jane Doe in the legal documents, reported feeling disoriented and unwell almost immediately. What followed was a harrowing experience. Combs allegedly forced him into a van and violated his trust. This incident marks a significant turning point in the narrative surrounding Combs. The opulent setting of the Hamptons party starkly contrasts with the alleged actions, illustrating how unchecked power and privilege can obscure troubling behaviors. Psychologically, the act of violating someone's autonomy in such a deliberate manner reveals deeper issues of control, dominance, and troubling tendencies, traits often hidden beneath a carefully curated public image. By 2007, Diddy's public persona still appeared largely unscathed, but incidents like the one at Teddy's nightclub began to erode that facade. Gerard Rechnitz, a victim of Diddy's volatile temperament, filed a lawsuit following an altercation outside Teddy's nightclub at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Rechnitz alleged that Combs not only struck him, but also pushed his girlfriend and attempted to spit on another woman. Diddy's legal team was quick to respond, dismissing the allegations as unfounded attempts to capitalize on his celebrity. The case was ultimately settled out of court a year later, leaving many to question whether Rechnitz's claims held more truth than fiction. The psychological implications here highlight Diddy's escalating sense of invincibility. As his fame and wealth grew, so did his belief that he was beyond reproach, able to shape circumstances to fit his narrative. By May 2007, the cracks in his facade began to deepen. Lori Ann Gibson, a choreographer and co-star on Making the Band, filed a complaint against Combs, claiming that he had threatened her with a chair while Michael Bivins of New Edition restrained her. This incident, reportedly occurring during the production of their reality show, reveals how Diddy's public image as a charming mogul often concealed a more unpredictable and troubling side. Diddy's attorney dismissed the claims as mere theatrics intended for the cameras, further diverting attention from the growing pattern of concerning allegations. This moment serves as a reflection of how the power dynamics within the entertainment industry can foster an environment where troubling behaviors thrive. When public personas collide with private actions, it is often those lower in the hierarchy who bear the brunt of the consequences. By May 2008, the allegations against Combs intensified in both seriousness and detail. According to an October 2024 lawsuit, Combs was involved in a disturbing incident with a John Doe sales associate in the back room of Macy's Herald Square flagship store. The victim, who was employed by a competing clothing brand, Echo, described a troubling encounter in which Combs struck him in the head, causing him to collapse. What followed was a deeply unsettling experience, a clear display of both physical and psychological dominance. The lawsuit mentions that Combs was surrounded by bodyguards, emphasizing the calculated nature of the incident. After the encounter, Combs reportedly exited the back room as if nothing had occurred, casually interacting with fans on the retail floor. This seamless transition from a moment of violence to public admiration highlights the stark contrast in Combs's persona, charming in public while harboring a darker side privately. From a psychological standpoint, this incident illustrates the impact of narcissistic entitlement and aggressive behavior in individuals who perceive themselves as untouchable. The public, captivated by his celebrity, often remains unaware of the depths of his troubling behavior, further reinforcing his belief that he is exempt from consequences. In 2008, the disbandment of Danity Kane left Dawn Richard in a challenging position within Bad Boy Records. Even after the group parted ways, Richard continued her collaboration with Combs as part of a new trio, Dirty Money, alongside Keena Harper. However, this new chapter came with increased control and unsettling experiences from Combs. Richard's lawsuit recounts several incidents during this time that involved inappropriate behavior and boundary violations. Allegedly, Combs would enter her dressing room without warning, engage in unwelcome physical contact during fittings, and even insisted she change clothes during rehearsals. When Richard pushed back against this treatment, Combs responded by withholding her vocal parts in their songs, using her career as a tool for retaliation. This behavior illustrates a pattern where power is wielded not just for professional leverage, but also for personal satisfaction. The dynamics of manipulation and control resemble those found in an unhealthy relationship, where one party uses their influence to maintain dominance over the other. One of the more unsettling allegations that emerged during this period involved Diddy's purported threats against rapper Kid Cudi. In 2012, reports surfaced that Diddy had warned he would take drastic measures against Cudi for briefly dating C. Venter. This threat represented the lengths to which Diddy would go to protect his influence, even if it meant crossing legal and moral lines. Not long after, Kid Cudi's car did indeed explode under suspicious circumstances. The mindset of someone who resorts to such drastic measures often stems from deep-rooted insecurities and a profound fear of losing control. Diddy's increasingly erratic behavior during this time suggests a man who, despite his public achievements, was facing significant psychological challenges. As his power grew, so did his paranoia and aggression, leading him to take extreme steps to safeguard his empire, even at the cost of those around him. As we wrap up this chapter in the life of Sean Combs, it prompts us to reflect. What truly defines a villain? Is it the decisions they make, or the circumstances that shape their journey? Can someone who has wielded great influence and caused harm ever find a path to healing? Comment down to let us know. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye.